Hello student, welcome back. Last class we discussed about cell theory by Schliden and Tishwan. Today we are going to discuss about the unicellular and multicellular. So what are unicellular and multicellular? Unicellular are those organisms which are made of a single cell, example bacteria, and multicellular are those organisms which are made up of many cells. Multi means many, uni means only one cell. So let's see. According to the number of cells present in an organism, they are categorized into two categories: unicellular and multicellular organism. So example of multicellular is fungi or human beings, animals. So these are the multicellular, and unicellular organisms are those of only one cell, bacteria or protozoa. Let's see. Number one, if the organisms are made up of single cell, they are called unicellular organisms. Example, amoeba, chlamydomonas, paramecium, and bacteria. Number two, if organisms are made up of many cells, they are called multicellular organisms. The multicellular organisms may be made up of few cells or many cells. They are called multicellular organisms. Example, some algae and fungal forms to several million cells. Example, human being, tree, whale, etc. If a multicellular organism, certain cells become specialized to perform a specific function, and thus division of labor is established among different groups of cells. The group of cells having a common origin and performing a similar but specific function constitute a tissue. Example, muscles. Several different types of tissues may be joined collectively to form organ, which carries out one or more specific function and thus constitute an organ system. Example, digestive system, circulatory system, nervous system, etc. So here look, in unicellular organism you will not find tissues, you will not find organ system. But in multicellular organism you will find everything, that is from cell to tissues to organ to organ system. Okay, let's see an example of tissue. You can find it in figure 1.10. You see that a small cell organelles, take an example of mitochondria, forms cell, and then cell forms tissue forms organ form organ system, then organ system forms a complete beings or complete animals. So what I mean to say is, in unicellular organisms they do not have many functions, they do not have many organs, they do not have organs at all. Okay, but in multicellular organisms you will find everything. So from cell to tissue to organ, as a cell collectively perform to form a function, a similar function is called as tissue. Then tissue forms into an organ. Then this organ helps in forming the organ system, the complete system, like lungs or liver or kidney. So these are the organ system that you will find. The life of every multicellular organism begins as a small cell. However, the unicellular organism complete their entire life cycle as a single cell. In others, as an increase in the number of cells takes place in the course of life. So in this line or in this paragraph, you see that as multicellular or unicellular organism, they live and die as a single cell, as a single being. That does not divide. Whereas in multicellular organisms, you will find that These cells divides into 2, divides into 4, divides into 8. So it keeps on dividing and forming by the process of meiosis or by the process of mitosis, they divide. All cells of our body come from a single cell, zygote, which divides continuously to form our multicellular body. Thus, all cells come from pre-existing cells. So here, look, the division of cells occur from a single cell. The division occurs from a single cell, forming a complete life. Thus, all cells exist, or all cells come from the pre-existing cell. Pre-existing cell means from the one that is born to that they give rise to the other cell. If you study figure 1.10, you will observe that human beings have different types of cell like sperm, blood cell, bone cell, muscle cell, nerve cell, fat cells, etc. We know that there is a division of labor in multicellular organisms. Example, human beings. It means that different parts of the human being or human body perform different functions. The human body has a heart to pump blood, a stomach to digest food, and so on. Likewise, in a human being, the division of labor is also seen inside a single cell. In fact, each cell has got a certain specific components inside a cell called cell organelles. Each type of cell organelles perform a special function. Example, protein synthesis, food synthesis, clearing up the waste material from the cell, etc. Thus, all the activities of an organism are present in miniature form in each and every single cell. So you see that if you observe carefully in the figure, the first thing you find that mitochondria, a cell organelle, is give rise to the cell, then give rise to the tissues or organs, then organ system. So each cell each cell has different parts like cell wall, mitochondria, nucleus or Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, cytoplasm. So these are the things you'll find in a single cell, and you see that they have different functions. Like endoplasmic reticulum, they produce or synthesis proteins. They synthesis proteins, lipids. Then comes Golgi apparatus. They are responsible for transferring proteins and lipids to the outer part of the cell. Then comes cell wall, which has functions that protects the cell from the foreign organisms or foreign things. So the cell wall does not allow other things to come inside the cell. So you see here, the cell has different functions. The cell organelles have different functions. Likewise, in human beings, they have different functions. You have nerve cell, which give informations to the body. You have fat cell, which helps in producing the fats or reducing the fats. These are the things you'll find. These are the cells you'll find in the human body or animal. So a cell is able to live and perform its function due to this organelle. These organelles together continue the basic unit called the cell. Therefore, the cell can be called a basic unit of life and the structural unit of an organism. So if there is no cell, there will be no structure. Your muscle cell or your nerve cell or your stomach, they are made up by the cell. They give the structure of the stomach, they give the structure of your ears, they give the structure of your head. So these are the functions you'll find in the cell. They have different functions for you. So because of that, they give life also, and they give the structural unit, or they give the structure to the body. Cell is made of a living substance called protoplasm. Proto means first, plasm means liquid. The protoplasm is made up of 4 elements, namely a carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. Other elements such as phosphorus, sulfur, and calcium are also present. These elements combine to form compounds like water, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and nucleic acids, DNA, etc. So here you see the cells are made up of the elements. So in cell you will find the protoplasm, which means first liquid that comes out in the cell. Then that liquid is responsible for producing carbohydrates, for producing lipids, for producing proteins. So this protoplasm consists of 4 elements: hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen, and they give functions such as they produce such as nucleic acid or DNA or RNA and lipids, fats, proteins. So these are the functions of protoplasm.